Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Thanks for joining us.
And Deborah, I wanted to start out with something. One of the fellows that I work with, and I'll make sure that he knows to watch this. He brought to my attention a very what I thought was a very good idea, and so I want to share it with our viewers. And what he says is that every elected official, he kind of compared it to NASCAR. You know, when the NASCAR guy gets out of the car, it's the AMC, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, got the patches all over the place. What he's suggesting, and he would like to see that passed by the legislature in each state, that all elected officials have to wear a jumpsuit, and everybody that gave them money, either individually or corporation, they would have to have a patch very visible to the public. That way, when you're having a conversation with them, you would know where their loyalties are.
Wouldn't that be nice? And maybe the bigger the patch, the more more money they give them, the bigger the patch.
Right, exactly.
Some of them would be all one big patch.
Right.
That would be great.
Right, some of them would just be a gigantic chest patch.
Yeah, you couldn't tell with the bundlers though.
So I just want my buddy to know we're working on that. We're spreading the word. And,
constitutional amendment.
I think it's a good idea, and hopefully your idea will sweep across America. Well, folks, today, once again, sometimes, Deborah, sometimes I feel bad about even bringing it up.
Sometimes there are no words for what we're going to present to our viewers. There are no words for the following clip.
It's such a sad situation. The topic of today is Team Santa Rosa.
What we have is the clip of the team director, Cindy Anderson, basically explaining why there's been zero productivity.
Right.
And we get all this bizarre pie in the sky. Well, here's what we could do. Which is what we always get. Here's what could happen. Wasn't this a wonderful dream? And I think Commissioner Melvin finally asked him. You've been to Paris
three times.
Right. How many leads have you brought back? And she sidestepped the question of how many leads, you'll notice, and she said, we followed up on all of them.
Yeah, we followed up
and none of them led to a job.
Folks, and you've heard me say it before, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I pretty much send this message out to the 5 elected county commissioners who have the authority to do something about this. Just in the last 45 days, we had lost 84 Lumber, and then they decided to come back again, and we've lost them again. The Clearwire, I'll refer to it as a debacle now.
Yeah.
The media was all over the fact that we were going to get an additional 500 jobs, which we of course knew was pie in the sky thinking. I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm just being realistic about it. Those jobs did not materialize. Then we find out that the 500 that we did have, those are leaving. So, and interestingly enough, at the beginning of the Clearwire debacle, Cindy Anderson, the head person of Team Santa Rosa, found fit to be in Washington, D.C. on a junket while the first half of that was falling apart. Then towards the end of the Clearwire debacle, we find out that Shannon Ogletree of Team Santa Rosa is in Paris, France at an air show.
Let me just mention, and I think this is appropriate, Miss Anderson makes about $94,000 a year.
Base salary with benefits well over $130,000.
Shannon Ogletree makes $70-something a year.
Right.
They've got somebody who makes, last I checked, $40-something a year.
Right.
And we don't know what the
and folks, they get raises whether or not there's any productivity or not.
And this is what I wanted to bring up, because we were told the reason for this public-private arrangement was because the private industry does things so much more efficiently than government, and we have to set it up this way so that these wonderful companies will be more comfortable dealing in that milieu. And by the way, we're not going to give you any records or invite you to our meetings because private industry doesn't do that. And yet, when it turns around, what happens in private industry when you don't produce?
Right.
Have you ever had a sales?
Yeah, they eliminate folks.
Yeah. Instead, we see these people getting raises year after year. They get raises, and literally there is no job creation.
Yeah,
that I've ever seen reported to speak of.
It's laughable. And once again, look in the camera. I hope some of our county commissioners watch this. I hope you care about your reputation in the community. I hope you care about the use of taxpayer money. I don't believe I'm being harsh in the least to say, once again, the 11, 12-year experiment has run its course. It's not working. It's not going to work. We're backing up. We're not getting any better. And I'll just tell you, the last couple county commission meetings, I couldn't even get the want to go up there and say anything.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
Why bother?
It's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
I don't understand how 5 elected people that are overseeing the taxpayer money will not pull the trigger on this. I just don't understand.
Millions of dollars, where are the jobs? That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, over and over. But folks, one quote that I did want to point out that wound up in a local newspaper was that the chairman of Team Santa Rosa, Ferd Solomon, actually said, and Cindy Anderson backed up the same thought process, is the Clearwire issue. We view this as a win for us because we now have no employees, but we have a shovel-ready property, so we can get out and find somebody to go in it. And you know,
it's just the ultimate in
spin.
It's insulting. At some point, it's insulting.
Well, it
how
is.
stupid do you think people are that you're just gonna? Just come out with this stuff.
Right.
Just glibly come out with this stuff.
I just, you know, certainly I've passed a few words with Commissioner Salter, but even Commissioner Salter ought to be smart enough to see that the rocket is flared out, and we're coming in for a crash landing here.
Yeah, it's a joke at this point.
My plea to the 5 commissioners is, I challenge you to go to the coffee house, to go to McDonald's, go to different places where folks hang out at, and ask them what they think about Team Santa Rosa, and you're going to hear. And it just needs to be, it needs to be handled right now.
Again, where are the jobs? Here's a clip of the explanation as to where the jobs are.
So we hope you enjoy it.
I asked this to be put on the agenda, and I made a brief statement here. This past week I was reading Florida Trend magazine. Out of 350 public or private jobs, none of them are in the panhandle of Northwest Florida. With the closure of Clearwire and the shell game that not only cost jobs but cost severance, we owe it to the citizens to review how Santa Rosa County does economic development and how we'll move forward from here. And whether that be a redirection of our efforts, more input from the team's board of directors, restructuring, however we decide to do this, now is the opportunity that we have and the competitive opportunity that we have with the other 8 counties. We've got to show positive results, complete accountability in the views and the eyes of our constituents. But anyone that thinks that the parking lot that didn't get built is the reason the Clearwire went away is wrong. We're still in the economic development business, not in the economic dissolvement business. But we must put points on the board. That's why I've asked that this be on the agenda today. Cindy, I hope you're here today to tell us something really good.
Okay, well, it's a little different direction than what I had anticipated, but wanted to tell you some of the things we're doing, some of the things we did last year, and some of the things that we're planning on doing on the upcoming year. I will tell you that as far as new jobs, part of those jobs were in the panhandle of Florida, and part of them were in Santa Rosa County. We secured Power Secure, a company that exports employees to Gulf Power, and they currently have 40, looking to go to 80 this upcoming year. Davis Express, small but steady. Same thing with Framatech. They moved from California to Navarre this year. Again, not a lot of employees, but again, they're secure employees. It seems like what we see is sometimes the smaller ones a little bit more secure than some of the large ones because you've got so many corporate changes and reorganizations going on with those companies. With that, I was talking to the chairman of the board, Ferd, this morning, and said, I'm going to give him the downside, too. He says, well, what's the down? And I said, well, it's the loss of employees at Clearwire. And he said, don't forget to tell them that what we're doing and the upside to it. And I know if I was one of those people that lost my job, I would not see an upside to it right now. But from an economic development perspective, we now have a considered plug-and-play building now that we've never had before, that we are able to market, and we are marketing. We get calls 2 or 3 times a year. Do you have a plug-and-play ready to go? No, we do not. No, we do not. Today we do. We have worked with Tata that hired 60, we're hiring 60 new employees. We were able to relocate Clearwire to the Tata. We are looking, for other ways that we can make sure that we can get someone in there. You talked about the parking lot. We would like to get that parking lot done. We would like to find some grant funding to do something with that parking lot in anticipation of getting that building filled. Okay? Clearwire was straightforward, looked at us in the eye and said that parking lot had nothing to do with our decision. This was a corporate decision made because of a change in organization, and when you get $1 billion contract from someone like Sprint, you have to figure out how you are going to best meet those needs, and they did not feel that they could meet it here in Santa Rosa County. Nothing that Santa Rosa County could do, nothing that team could do, because we asked them specifically, tell us what it is. Let us give the Board of County Commissioners the opportunity to see if we can provide you with what you need. And they said, it's not about being here, it's about being overseas. And that there was just nothing that you could do as a commission to be able to keep them here. One of the things we're trying really hard to do to help y'all as well as us is to get the word out. We have things like our tidbit that go out once or twice a week. We have our Esteem and our newsletter. We visit civic organizations a couple of times a month. We visit the Chamber of Commerce. We talk to their boards. We work with other EDOs. We look into the east, looking to the west. We work with Florida's Great Northwest, Enterprise Florida with the state. We are trying to get out and make sure that all of these entities know what we've got to offer here in Santa Rosa County. One of the things that we found is you've got Enterprise Florida, where an awful lot, probably 90% of companies that come to Florida come in through the conduit of Enterprise Florida. It is imperative that those people who get those leads know what we've got here in Santa Rosa County. And so we're working very hard on giving them all of that information. I will tell you, I've talked to a couple of y'all already, I feel like we've neglected y'all. Where we talk with you one-on-one, we have not come and talked to you as a board. We need to get back in that habit. I've talked to Commissioner Williamson about that. We will be back in the habit of telling you. Now, we're not going to be here every 2 weeks telling you we've got 1,000 jobs. But we can be here every 2 weeks telling you what we're doing to try to accommodate jobs that we're hoping to come into Santa Rosa County. And I think that we need to do a better job of. We're always looking for grants to help subsidize what we do at Team Santa Rosa. Commissioner Cole talked about the $10 million. I read in the paper somewhere the other day that the only county that had a plan for how to spend that money was Bay County. I am telling you, it ain't so. Our plan has already gone to UWF. They know that we have a company looking at Lighting Aviation Park right now. They are willing to sign if we can commit to having certain infrastructure that we don't have there now, and we believe that part of that $10 million this year could accommodate it. And if that $10 million is needing to go to a company ready to sign on the dotted line, I think I heard the term, we want W's on the page. We want wins right now. We believe that we've got that. So ours is into UWF. They know what we need. They know what we want. They know that this could be a headliner, a win, whatever you want to call it, for them. So that is in. Please don't think we're sitting back just waiting on UWF to say, okay, now we're ready, because we are right there at the table with them. We're looking at EDA funds to do some marketing that we may not have done before that isn't currently in our budget. And that EDA grant has gone in. We are working every opportunity we can to get funds, just like the Defense Infrastructure Grant, to start putting together and improving the infrastructure and the product and marketing capabilities that we've got. One of the things that we've done this year, and I will tell Commissioner Williamson that this is partly his idea because it came from Ed Fortune, who has been absolute jewel, his appointee. And he said, we got to do more with committees. You come to the board, you ask the people to participate, but when you only meet with them every couple months or once a month, it makes it difficult. So we've got several different committees throughout TEAM, and one of them is our marketing committee. And what we hope to do with our marketing committee is to have it help us figure out what we need to do with the marketing money that we've got. And now you as a commission will know that staff of team is working with the marketing committee. Marketing committee is making recommendations to our board of directors, and then I will be able to tell you that there is support from board of directors and marketing committee on how we've done our work. One of the big questions that we've got coming up this year is, what trips do we want to do? Who do we want? How do we want to spend our travel money? And I did want to talk a little bit about the Paris trip. And our marketing committee will be looking at it to see whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. It was a good idea this year because we had to find some things out. And I think we came back with some good information. Commissioner, he had a video on, if we want to watch that really quick. I think this gives you an idea, and Commissioner, I appreciate you finding that, of what type of aircraft we're looking at. But I also wanted to tell y'all that here's a document that before each of these shows, if it's a smaller event, we do the research ourselves. If it's a larger event like Paris, Florida's Great Northwest participated, and it's kind of a worn document. This is Shannon's book of what he took to Paris. This is a $20,000 document that Florida's Great Northwest funded, and it has who they suggest, that consultant suggests that we meet with, a dossier on their company, background on the person, and sets our meetings up for us. Now, we come behind, and anybody that we know that's going to be there that we need to get with, we set those up too. So this is what we have with us, and then I think Commissioner Cole has a copy, and we can get a copy. We put together an event report when we come back from anything, and it talks about who we met with, what came of it, and what our initial follow-up steps are with each of these companies that may be looking at doing some type of expansion or relocation. Again, we will be taking all this information along with specific costs to our marketing committee and looking at what is the return on investment. And, maybe this is not our best return on investment. Maybe it's some other types of events. Bottom line is we can't just sit in the office and do nothing. We've got to do something, and we want to be able to show you what the return is. And if anybody thinks that we can just go to these shows and then just bring back, 500 jobs, I wish it happened that way. But I'm telling you, it doesn't happen that way. It's all about trying to figure out and be in the right place at the right time.
And if I might, Cindy, I didn't want to show the video just, because it's a splashy video that makes you think that, we go over there and sit. And I've never been, but Ferd's been there, your president of your board of directors has been there, Shannon's been there a couple times now. But to illustrate how many different thousands of airframes are out there and the potential that we have for Whiting Aviation Park and the growth in this area with the retired military, both Air Force and Navy, that we have so much, not only the airframes to work on, but the intelligence and the personnel that have retired from military service that have the abilities from the ground up on these aircraft to work on, and to put these people to work, and then possibly start mentoring programs. If we could stand up a business out of Whitingfield that works on a certain type of airframe or a certain type of avionics or hydraulic systems on an aircraft, does that company have the potential to take people out of our high schools and junior colleges and use them to ramp them up into that type of field? So I don't want anybody to think that, you know, we just go over there and sit like you do at a Blue Angel Air Show and watch airplanes fly for 4 days. It's a lot of hard work that goes into that, and again, I just felt that the citizens of Santa Rosa County are owed these type of reports.
No, you are absolutely right. And I was going to ask Ferd if he would come up and give us an idea, because he went to the last shift. So as opposed to me telling you what I hear, we can have him tell you what truly goes on.
Sure.
While he's coming up, I'm sorry, was there somebody else? Oh, I'm sorry.
How many times have we been to the Paris Air Show?
2.
How many leads have we followed up on and had some actual production from?
We have followed up on every lead. We have no companies here because of those trips. Now, that is a fact, and that's what I was saying. Maybe this is not our best return on investment, but until you do it, you don't know.
Yeah.
And so I think that we at this point have covered most of the different types of trips, and we'll be able to have our marketing committee help. Is it just me? Or is it? That's noisy.
Mr. Chairman, one of the comments that was on here is from one of the companies that, and again, it goes back to what I said at first. We may have the dollars available now. How do we use those dollars? But there's a company in here that says the $5 million closing fund that we offer is chump change. So that's the type of thing that we're competing against. So how do we get more traction? What we're doing, where our efforts are going. So.
You know, and that's something that we're going to spend a lot of time on this year. Is we did this a few years back. I think Commissioner Salter was here. I'm sure Commissioner Salter was here. And one of the things we asked y'all is, what do you want to look like? What type of economy do y'all want to have? You know, do you want to have 10 companies with thousands of employees, or would you rather have hundreds of employees and hundreds of jobs? I really messed that up. I realize that. Smaller companies. We believe it's healthier to have smaller companies that are stronger as opposed to the big, and I think Clearwater is a prime example of that has the ability to move around a little bit more. The smaller companies tend to have their roots a little bit deeper. They have their corporations locally, and they are able to weather our poor economy a little bit better. But y'all need to make that decision, not us. And again, if y'all would like to hear from Ferd on what goes on this trip. Any questions then?
And speaking with you last week, I think that you're headed in the right direction about trying to decide where you get the most bang for your buck on what shows and what type of conventions to go to. Because like I say, you can spend a lot of money going somewhere and have no return. You can spend a lot less and have a lot more return. So I think that evaluating that is at least a step in the right direction.
And we have, I will tell you, we've got the best board of directors at this point in time that we have had in a long time. We've got about 24 board members right now, and it's a nice combination of people who have been with with TEAM since its inception to brand new eyes. So we've got all that historic knowledge that comes with folks that have been around for a while, but yet we've got fresh eyes from a lot of our business leaders. And so we're really excited about having that opportunity to bring them in and get their input.
Any more questions or comments?
Chairman,
Mr. Stoller.
if I may, just briefly. I think I want to hear more from Team Santa Rosa, especially what y'all are doing, talking about the Gates plan and the UWF plan. We need to earn on what that plan is.
Okay.
I told you the other day that the board has a contract with Team to do economic development, but when the day is done, the citizens of this county look at these 5 individuals right here to ensure good employment for them. So we need more current information. Commissioner Cole talked about one large aviation-related company saying $5 million is chump change, and how do we compete? Sometimes you compete not only with incentive money, but what do we have that other communities don't have?
I have a long list.
And one of the key, and I think it's a huge potential for this county, is going to be the Whiting Aviation Park. One thing that we have now that a lot of communities don't have, that's an aviation park that's being developed that will give those companies access to a 6,000-foot runway.
Along with a workforce that is second to none.
He's going to be. You can have the workforce, but if you don't have that infrastructure, in this case the infrastructure is 6,000-foot runway, then the workforce is important, but you got to have that infrastructure. You got to have something unique that other communities don't have. And I agree about the workforce. And here again, every once in a while, we talk about the aviation park and having access to that 6,000-foot runway. I hear people talk about, well, you know, you're going to encroach on airspace. No, you won't, because the Navy would have never let that happen, entering into that limited access use agreement. And we're only talking about, once we get that company, it'll be aviation, probably Whiting Field related type jobs. And max on any day, hopefully 5 flights a day. So, and it'll all be handled with Whiting's control tower. So we won't be impeaching or encroaching on the airspace. But I truly believe that has the potential to be a major part of the future of this county.
I agree.
Commissioner Lynchard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think everyone's made some good points up here today. In speaking with Mr. Walker last week, it's been years really since our economic development organization was looked at and evaluated by the board. I think that probably would be beneficial to you. You know, one of the things we're going to be talking about later today is evaluating our county administrator. I think that's important for every organization under the board. We need to periodically take a look and see where we can improve, see what changes we need to make, and I would support that. I think we may find that we don't need to make any changes. Maybe they just need more input from us, because that would help them. That would help you do your job. You know exactly what we want, what we're looking for then. So I think going forward we need to start thinking about that.
Would you like to come back on Thursday to give us an update?
I would really rather not do it on Thursday. We have somebody coming in, and I'd like the ability to meet with them, but maybe at the next board meeting. Could we do that?
Yeah, just keep with me. That'd be great.